17 minutes to 1. So I was saying champion diver Tom Daley, one of the speakers at the Cheltenham Literature Festival over the weekend, sharing his secrets of how to stay fit and healthy, both physically and mentally in everyday life as well as competitions. Great to catch up with him. Our festival reporter Joe Durrant had a chat with Tom, who explained more about Tom's daily plan and how it all came about.
The whole thing behind Tom's daily plan in the first place was to try and make it achievable for lots of people to have a healthy lifestyle, feel happy with themselves and feel good about the way that they are in everyday life, and not just about what they're eating and all the exercise that they're doing. So for me to be able to talk about health, fitness and getting people involved in just generally being overall, healthier, I'm excited to gather, and hopefully there'll be some kids in there that'll take a few things on board.
So you don't need to be an athlete or a diver then to take on the tips?
Exactly, you don't need to be someone that is an Olympic athlete to feel good about yourself, have lots of energy, and it's not just about having enough, food in your system to lose weight. It's about making sure that you're, feeling good, you've got the right energy throughout the day, dispelling some of the myths around food and what you should and you shouldn't be eating, and also just some techniques around mindfulness and being able to get the best out of your day.
In terms of when you're competing, how much is it a balance between the physical and the mental fitness?
It's a good question, because when it comes to diving, it's such an on-the-day sport and such a split-second thing. 1.6 seconds from 10 meters all the way into the water. So you have to make some very quick decisions. You have to deal with a lot of pressure because you get one chance, and if you mess it up, it's done. So you have to make sure that you are good at being present. So the mindfulness tips that I give in the book are definitely something that I use a lot of.
How do you cope with the pressure then and the expectation that then gets sort of put upon you?
Pressure and expectation is one of those things that you put it on yourself. Yeah, other people may put pressure on you, but you only feel the pressure that other people put on you if you're making yourself think about it and making yourself feel it. And at the end of the day, although no matter what you're doing, whether you're going in for a really, really big job interview, or if you've got a really big day at work and something that's been stressing you out, or if you're on the edge of a 10-meter board in the Olympics and it's, the dive for the medal, at the end of the day, there's going to be someone just outside walking their dog that's got no idea what's going on, and it just puts things into perspective of you just got to be with yourself in that present moment.
At what point in your life did you realise this is it, this is the career I want, this is something I can be really good at?
I never really had a light bulb switch on moment with diving. It was just something that I loved doing and something that I did after school and just was enjoying it, and I never thought of it as a chore to do, and never did I think that it was going to be my career and I'd still be doing it and going to the Olympics and World Championships, Commonwealth, never did I think that was going to happen. So I feel extremely lucky to be in the position I am.
Put it into words then what it's like for anybody who would never have experienced the Olympics, just what that feels like.
The Olympics is like no other. It's so hard to explain because it's such a whirlwind, and I have to write a diary of every single day and the events and what's happened and how I've been feeling throughout the whole time. Because when you get back, you almost forget about it because you've got so much adrenaline running through you, and it's such a whirlwind. So it's something that, if you put it this way, you work your whole life to get into that team, and once you make that team, that is the big achievement. That's the toughest thing to do, is to actually qualify to be able to put on that Team GB kit. So I don't know, it's a very proud feeling when you're part of the Olympic team.
You said you keep a diary then. Have you looked back at some of those diary entries from when you've been at the Olympics?
Sometimes I look back on the diary that I wrote in for Beijing 2008, and obviously I was 14 years old, and some of the things that I was writing about are just, you put yourself back into that 14-year-old head and oh my goodness, why was I thinking about that? Why was I doing this? Why wasn't I overeating this? And it's just actually very interesting to see the difference between 2008, 2012 and 2016.
Obviously, with the success at the Olympics and throughout your career comes the pressures of fame. How do you cope with that?
Well, I never actually think of myself as someone that is famous or has to think about pressures of fame. I think you just got to be yourself, do what you do, and I love to dive, so I train really hard and work as hard as I can at that. And when it comes to worrying about what other people think about what I'm doing and who I am, that I just don't worry about it, because you have to be able to make sure that you're doing the best that you can, and as long as your friends and family around you are there to support you, it's, as long as you're happy with that, it's all good.
You said you may well have some youngsters in the talk today. I mean, how important is it for you to sort of talk maybe to the next generation and inspire youngsters?
I mean, I just saw on Twitter, actually, someone tweeted me a video of where the mum's given her daughter a little thing to read about who she was coming to see. She must have been about 9 or 10, and she got all excited that she was coming along, and it like melts my heart a little bit. I'm like, it's one of those things that I never ever thought that would something that would happen. And if any kid was to listen to anything that I had to say about just being healthy, exercising, eating well, you don't have to be into Olympian shape. Just making sure that you're happy, healthy, and it really will help in the long term of your life.
And what would you say your proudest moment is?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's a couple of moments that I'm very proud of. I'm proud that I got married. That's one moment. But then also very proud of the recent World Championships, because after the Olympics last year in the individual event, I wasn't very happy at all with my performance, and I was actually one of the lowest moments in my whole life, and especially in my diving career. And then to come around, turn that around, it was kind of a little bit of redemption for me to come back and be on top of the podium. It was such a surreal experience.
Champion diver Tom Daley talking to our festival reporter Joe Durrant. It's BBC Radio Gloucestershire.